Hey, in this little video I'll show you how you can enhance your labeling for points objects. So let's have a look at how we can go around this. First of all, I want to take my point data and gonna add it to my maps. I'm just gonna drag it from my Explorer window onto the map, and now you can see those small dots here. That's my layer. So let's add some labels to the layer as well. I'll just select the layer and then I'm just gonna turn on auto labels. And you can see I get some labels shown here on the map. Let's just change them slightly. So in order to do so, I select this labels tab. I can make them a bit bigger. Maybe I'm gonna add a halo around them. I'm gonna change the color to being red, and let's make them bold as well. Get some clear labels on the map now, right? But what you also can see is you have a number of points here that isn't labeled, right? So we can actually try to enhance that a bit as well. So one way to do it could be using the label rules, but oh, I only have one label rule, and that's probably the one I'm using currently. The problem with these places here is that the labels might overlap, right? So let's check the overlap settings here. So it says it should discard labels that overlap. You could actually try other positions. And now you can actually see that we got some additional labels shown on the map, right? But now that the labels actually can appear on multiple places according to the point, it can be a bit tricky to actually see what point does what label actually refer back to. So maybe we can try to enhance that a bit using a region instead, because when you have a region, you can actually use different ways to label those regions than when you only have points. But we only have points, so how can we convert our points into a region in an easy way? Well, you can use the power of SQL to do that. So let's have a look at that. So in order to do so, I'm going to go to my table tab, and from here I'm going to select my SQL window, and that's just going to open up here docked on the side. So now I'm going to select from my table, right? So I'm going to say select from. I'm just going to hit Control Space to get a list of possible names here. So that's the name of my table. I'm going to give this an alias, as I tend to do when I write SQL statements. And now I need to select some data from it. And I actually want to include all my columns. And then I want to calculate a new spatial object for my result set here. In this case, I'm going to calculate a buffer around my points. So I'm just going to use my buffer object. I'm going to take my object from my table. I'm just going to make it a very low resolution of just 8 points for a circle. And then I'm going to create a buffer of 25 meters around each point. And in order to tell MapInfo to use this expression as the object for my query, I'm just going to add the object keyword here at the end. That tells MapInfo to not use the original point object as a data point, but actually use this buffer expression here instead. So instead of just selecting again to a unnamed query, I'm going to use I'm just going to call it underscore buffer, my query result, so that I can easily find it. I don't want to see it in a browser, I just want to add it to my map window. Let's run this one. And now you can see you actually got some polygons added around your points here. Let's just get rid of our SQL window here again. And let's just clear the selection. So now we want to actually use this buffer layer here and use that for our layering. Let's just turn off the buffer or the labels for our point layer and just select the buffer layer instead. So now you can see the labels have just been actually positioned right on top of the centroid of the polygons. Let's go and change the settings here similar to what we did earlier. Make them slightly bigger using a halo, a red text, and a bold text. And now you can see there are some places where we don't see the label, right, because they are overlapping. And in order to actually get around that, I can go to my label rules here, and here I can actually use one of the many label rules we have here. That's basically a set of configurations for our labels. And in my case, I know that this one would work quite nice. So you can see when I actually hover my mouse over these, you can see how the labels are actually changed, right? So they actually tell me how will this look when you use this setting. So maybe I like this one. I can just click on it, and then all those settings, they're gonna be applied to my layer. And now you can see I can actually see all my labels. They have a nice call out that points back to the point they refer back to. I also see my buffers here, and I don't really need that because I actually want the point only. So in order to change that, I can just make this, set this to use an invisible style. So now I have my labels pointing back to the points that they actually originated from. So that's just a very easy trick to using region label settings for a point-based layer. I hope you found that useful.